Hey, you wonderful traders. I'm here with another trading recap for the week of December the 17th through December the 21st. There are a few mistakes that I've made, and I'll be going over that. Apart from that, it was actually supposed to be a wonderful week for me in trading, but because of some fees that I didn't understand how it was calculated and stuff, because I'm using this new broker, and I ended up losing money than making money. So, but nevertheless, it's I'm playing with a small account. It's an experience, right? I'm focused on creating this process in which I can make money consistently, right? And then, whereas I grow my account, um, put in more money and trade with a bigger account, um, bigger than what I'm using right now. Not like not a bigger account in a sense where I'm going to put in like 50K or whatever, but just right now I'm playing with a really small account. Maybe I would have like another $1,000 or $2,000, and then slowly grow my account is the plan. So here are a few of the mistakes that I made. First off, I didn't realize that there is so I used to short on E-Trade when the shares are available. So when I short them, the borrow fee that calculates, it's calculated for the whole year. They say it's 37% or 100%, right? But the amount is calculated for the year. So per day cost is not as much um, as my winnings were, whatever amount I earned. However, with this broker, um, my per day cost is calculated based on borrow rate times the number of shares times 7. So it's per night. So it's kind of crazy, especially since I'm playing with a small account. Um, like having a overnight fee of $56 is like 10% or of the shares that I'm holding. So it just eating a lot of my profit. So ended up being on the losing side. So anyways, good lessons, and I know what not to do for the next week. Trying to look for positives here. So here you go. So this is what happened in the week of December the 17th through 21. So here you go. The first day I shorted UXIN. So it was making, it was already been up several days. So if you see UXIN, let me pull up the chart. So this is on the 17th. So it's on this date right here. Right. So this has, it's up from $3.20. It went all the way to $9, right? And then it had this big red day, but then it didn't close to, at its low. So next day was bound to be a green day, kind of expected, right? And then the following day was the squeeze, right? So this day I was interested in shorting it, and I shorted it. And you can see that I was short here, risking the high of the day. I'm usually pretty good at, like watching how well the HOD holds or the high of the day holds. In this case, it was still like holding pretty good, but I kind of got scared out. It actually broke by like 1 cent. Like literally 1 cent. It was broke by, so 8.47 was the high of the day. It broke by 1 cent, 8.48, and I actually covered right there at 8.47 while it was breaking. And I try not to do it because I want to see how it reacts first before I cover. I might lose 2 or 3 cents more if it's a strong break, but then in this case, I would have been well off just holding like one fraction of a second. But anyways, I mean, in a way, I stick to my plan, I guess. I covered, and then I ended up doing exactly what I wanted. I wanted to cover somewhere closer to $8, and it went down and then squeezed again. Um, so, anyways, it was the loss. Started the day with a loss, and then I shorted again here at the close at 8:38, um, and held it overnight. And interestingly enough, I didn't know about any of this fee till Saturday, when the whole week, the next day when it showed me, it didn't show me like any of these big fees, right? And on Saturdays, when for the whole week, when it showed the total amount of fee I was charged, I was devastated because what I thought to be green days ended up being the red days because of all the fees that I was paying. Anyway, so the next day, since I was short overnight, the next day it squeezed big in the morning. Um, like it went all the way to 9:25. So I added some at 9:10, and I was hoping for a pullback because no shares, no stock goes straight up and straight down. There's always going to be some kind of a pullback at some point. I was really expecting pullback because there was no volume on this spike whatsoever. So, I was expecting this pullback, and I got it, and I covered here at 885, and I actually thought it would hold, but to my surprise, it just plunged at the open, and then it came back up, and I started shorting here below this VWAP area at 780, 780. Oh wait, no, 850 is where I shorted. Um, and then I had this nice dip right here, and I covered at 801 because I work full time. I had to go to this meeting and missed out on this drop right here. But nothing to complain. Still a nice gain. Um, but I lost money because of that overnight hold. So that was for the 18th, and then I didn't trade at all for the rest of the day. Um, so the next day I shorted ADIL. So this was a nice short. Shorted here at 350. Went all the way up. I was risking the pre-market high. So this is a perfect example for how I trade when it breaks my risk level, right? So here it broke, but then it was a weak break. It slammed right back down. Again, it breaks, but weak break slams right back down. So I was patient in this whole break thing, right? So it breaks, comes back down, and I covered here because I saw on the level 2 there were some buyers coming in, didn't want to risk it. Sure enough, that was happened to be the dead bottom where I covered. I covered at 330, and 328 was like the bottom. So I almost got the dead bottom here. And then it went up, squeezed all the way. And then when I saw the weakness here, I shorted. Unfortunately, my boss called me for a meeting right here. So I couldn't stay patient, just covered. And then sure enough, it had this huge, um, uh, you know, uh, it, it, it dropped huge. Um, and and the next day I shorted again, but then this was a bad decision because again I held it overnight. I don't have the chart saved for the next day, but I covered actually for a loss, I believe. Uh, I think I shorted at 368 and I covered at 370 or something. I don't have the chart to show you. I didn't save that, so you just need to go by my word here. And then on the 20th, I shorted MRIN. This was actually a nice short because I was watching several things, and I was watching this squeeze all the way, and then I was shorting here at 784, risking 850 area, and I really wanted to short somewhere here at 850. Um, but then it was like struggling here, so I thought it would just go down and I would cover somewhere closer to VWAP. But instead, it started to make this head and shoulder pattern. Um, like right here when it was going back up, and I was really hoping that it's not breaking this level right here, because I would have cut my loss. Because I was seeing this, kind of predicting that I would make this head and shoulder pattern, which is exactly what it did. Um, it wasn't really a prediction. It was more like the odds were in my favor. If it had broken this high right here, I would have cut my loss. Since it held this area, broke this net level, I was comfortable and I wanted to cover somewhere closer to the VWAP, which I did. So that was a nice little gain right there. And so the following day, 21st, again, I shorted MRIN. This was a frustrating short, because it did exactly what I wanted, but I couldn't cover because my broker kind of had this issue with their system where I put in a sell order almost at the dead bottom here at 725, and I couldn't get filled. For some reason, um, it the amount, the bid and the ask that was showing on my broker account, and the bid and the ask that was showing on my E-Trade account, which is what I use for putting my orders, were completely different. And it's just unfortunate. So I keep changing my ask. It not working out. Like every time, it's like completely different, which is unfortunate. Um, so, I mean, I can show you a screenshot. I don't know where I kept it, but I'll post my screenshot. There was one screenshot that I posted maybe at 11:30 or whatever. Here it's showing like 950, right? It's making 950, and the screenshot which I would post on Facebook will show you like $9 was the ask at that time. So I mean, it was totally messed up. So I couldn't cover at any of this price, and it actually froze at for like 15 minutes right here, and so I couldn't cover it all. And then at one candle, it breaks the HOD. And, I actually put in a sell order for $9, even though it's at like 850 or whatever here. And I put in a sell order at $9, and I got filled at 827. While it was at like $8, I put in a sell order at 9. I got filled at 827. So that's how crazy it was. And it was unfortunate. I mean, that's what happens when you play with the offshore broker. I guess it has its own pros and cons. And in this case, I was kind of stuck with a loss on this day. But unfortunate. But overall, I was actually happy with my trading process for the whole week, even though I ended up with red. But it's all because of several mistakes, from my side and the broker side, right? So, but it's okay. And I know what not to do next week, right? Next time, when I see something like this happening next time, like the way it happened on MRIN, I'd make sure I just cover and not trade that day, right? And then when I see, I'm not going to hold overnight because I know the fees is going to eat my profit. So no matter what, how good a setup it is, because I'm not playing with a big trade, big account. So I would just cut my trade end of the day and be happy with my gain or loss. So that's my plan for the next week, and I hope you all have a nice trading week. And remember, it's a holiday week, so it can go either way. People might be excited, trade, it can go up. You can be making money on the long side, And also you have to realize people might be on off, right? So they might not be trading. And also the government is shut down. So yeah, you have to take into consideration all of that. Maybe shorting might be a good strategy for the next week as well, instead of going long. So just see at the open how the market behaves, and then decide whether or not you want to go long or a short. I'm still kind of short biased because SPY is still going down. If it's bouncing, I might be just playing the long side, but we'll see how the market behaves for us before predicting. Right? I hate predicting. I like to kind of go with the flow, go with the trend, right? Not against it. So you all have a safe trading week. Have a wonderful week, and I see you guys. I'll do some watch list for Monday. Have a wonderful trading week.